Hey everyone, it's Paul again. This morning I've got another set of cool tips, Paul. This time it's about polymer clay. As a sculptor, one of the questions that I get asked a lot is how do I know whether or not the Sculpey that I'm getting or the polymer clay that I'm getting from the store is fresh and good to use? And there's a really simple test that you can use for that. And at the end of that, I'm going to give you a bonus tip about how best to store your polymer clay. Let's get to it. What we have here is two blocks of clay. One is a really fresh block of clay and one is a really old block of clay, but you can't tell the difference just by looking at it. The best way to tell the difference is to do something that I call the pinch test. So what you do is you grab a corner of the clay, you break off a small section of it, roll it quickly into a ball, and then pinch it between your forefinger and your thumb and pull. When the clay forms a teardrop like this before it breaks in half, that means it is a fresh clay. This is a clay that you would ideally like to work with. This is an old block of clay that I keep around for just this purpose to show this test here. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull off a corner of the clay here. We're going to roll it into a ball. And then we're going to put it between our forefinger and our thumb and pull. And if you notice here, it breaks instead of forming a teardrop shape. We don't have any teardrop, we just have a break in the clay. That means that this clay has started to go through its cure process and it's a little past its prime. Remember that polymer clay is actually curing, not evaporating liquids from it. So no matter how much moisture you put back in this, it's never going to get back to its pliable state that it was when it was fresh. Even if we condition the clay, which means to work the clay between our hands to make sure that it gets nice and warm and pliable, and we do the same pinch test, we're going to have a similar result. We're going to get a little bit of a teardrop, but it's still going to break, whereas the fresh clay will not. Once you've established which clay is a viable clay, which one is the good one, then what you need to do is decide whether or not you're going to use the entire brick at once or if it's something that's going to take you a while to get through. If it's going to take a while, then I recommend you store it in the freezer. Wrap it in aluminum foil, parchment paper, wax paper, that would be fine, and then store it in the freezer. Polymer clay requires heat in order to cure. And so if you put it into the freezer, it's actually going to go into stasis, kind of like Han Solo going into carbonite freeze. And when you take it out and let it get back to room temperature, it will be as fresh as the day you put it in there. And it can store in forever as long as you keep it in the freezer like that. So there you have it. A couple cool tips, Paul, about polymer clay. Get to crafting. Remember, work smarter, not harder. And hopefully you guys learned something today. I know I did. I'll see you next time. Bye.